reality sets in, and we're here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned in blood.
Boxing King Media, delighted to be joined by Mr. Duke McKenzie on this Monday evening. How are you, Duke? I see you've got your polo neck out, so I'm guessing the heaters are on.
Do you know what? I hate the cold with a vengeance. You know, the Duke McKenzie of 2025 couldn't do what the Duke McKenzie of the 80s and 90s done. You know, going for a run at like 4 a.m. in the winter or 5 o'clock in the winter, and it was bitterly cold. You know, you're going out on an empty stomach, and I think it actually makes me quite miserable thinking about it, to be honest with you. But no, I love the heat. I got the heat, I've had it on for about 2 weeks, to be honest with you. Since we had that mad storm, pops it on from then. And as you can see, I'm pretty kitted up and quite comfortable, to be honest with you. Thanks for inviting me on again, champ. I appreciate it. It's nice. Good to see you.
You as well. I'm just curious now because you've got me wondering. So, be honest, in your whole boxing career, was there ever a time where you've got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, alarm's gone off for your run, and you thought, forget this, it's too cold, and got back in bed?
Oh, yeah. Many a time. Many a time. Do you know what, though? I'd never get away with it because my brother Dudley used to come running with me on a regular. Like, at times where he'd ring me up and say to me, little man, this is what he used to call me, say, little man, are you ready to go for the run? I'm like, yeah, I've just got back. And then 2 minutes later, he's knocking on my front door. Do you see what I mean? Waiting outside for me because he knew I was lying. Basically, he was like my motivator. So I soon stopped lying to him and got myself together. Do you see what I mean? I think everybody should have. My brother was like a Henry Hoover. Everybody should have one. Everybody should have a Dudley.
100%. I know you always speak highly of him. What's that battle like? Explain to someone who doesn't get it, where because that is your work. If you don't put that work in, you're going to get found out in the ring. So when you're there battling your blanket or getting out running, what's that battle like in your head?
You know what? It's a nightmare, isn't it? And particularly, this is why I started moving out into training camp, because at that time I was married. And you don't want to feel a warm body beside you either. Do you see what I mean? Central heating goes on, Mrs. rolls over, then you look at the clock goes off at 4 o'clock, you're like, do I really want to get up? Do you know what I mean? Sometimes the old boy starts talking to you, and you have to like calm him down, go and have a cold shower. So, it's one you find yourself in, it's a very, very difficult situation. It's a very, very fine margin. But this is what I used to say to myself. If I don't get up, the guy that I'm fighting is going to be getting up. He's going to be doing, the 4 mile, the 4 a.m. run or the 5 a.m. run. Then he'll get one over me. Over a period of time, I became obsessed with training. If I was fighting you, as an example, I'd say to myself, right, you're getting up at 5 o'clock. I've got to get up at 4 o'clock. Or if you're getting up at 4 o'clock, I've got to get up at 3 o'clock. It becomes a battle of the mind, a battle of wills. Do you see what I mean? Because when that bell goes and it's game on, you've done the donkey work. Do you see what I mean? It's one of them, you always find yourself in that sort of a position where you battle with yourself, but ultimately it's your job and you've got to do it and you've got to go out and do it well.
No, 100%, I agree. Whilst we're on that subject, because I've read about your boxing career, and I know in the amateurs you didn't do too well. I think if I'm right, you lost about 16 fights in a row. And I think there was a period where you was, and obviously your brother Dudley kept pushing you forward, etc. And I think when you wanted to become a pro, is it true that you was like constantly outside Mickey Duff's office or trying to find him somewhere to get a contract, persisting to to make it as a pro?
Listen, if I told you, I don't know how long we've got, but if I told you the real story,
share me your story. Go on.
Yeah, listen, I had to beg Mickey Duff to manage me, and once I actually found out where his office was, I became like a stalker. Because going to the West End of London for me when you're 19 years of age, it was like a proper day out. Do you see what I mean? I used to look forward to getting up, having a shower, having a shave, going to the toilet, do what I had to do, get on my best sort of clothes that I could afford at that time. So I'm going like the West End of London to see Mickey Duff. Do you see what I mean? Or go to his office at least to see if he was there. I mean, I put on an appointment on with him several times, and several times I'd turn up there and he wasn't even there. And over a period of time, I befriended like all of his backroom staff. He had a lovely secretary called Eileen. She was lovely. Valerie as well, and Jill, Archie Kessler, Denny Mancini, to name a few people that were up there. I became became really sort of fond of these people because they sort of warmed to me, and they sort of, I'm not going to say they took me in, but every time I went down there, Mickey wasn't there. Eileen would say to me, "Don't worry, Duke, I'll make you a cup of tea," and she'd sort of sit me down and make me a cup of tea. Do you know what I mean? And then I got Mickey Duff's number in America where he used to live, and I called him like long distance collect. So he'd have to collect the call, pay for the call, and I'd ring him up at silly because I didn't know the time difference then between Vegas and England, obviously. So I'd call him up at ridiculous hours, like 3 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock, in the morning. Do you see what I mean? When it was stupid hours here. And every time I spoke to Mickey Duff, he never once shouted. He never once got angry. He was always really, really polite with me. But there was like a tone in his voice. It was like, "Oh, no, not you again." Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And then I used to wait for him like a lapdog in his office when and he used to have an office in Wardour Street in the West End of London. And I'd go and wait in his office like a lapdog. I swear to God, I couldn't make this up. I'd wait in his office. I'd wait outside of his office. It's like a little alcove area with a little seat, right? And I'd wait there like a lapdog for him to turn up. And like I say, some days he didn't even turn up. And then one day he walked through the door and he was like, he had to double take. He was like that. "What, you again?" I'm like, "Yeah, me again," like that. And then it all sort of went from there. And how I got him to manage me again, it's a real long-winded story, but it was just a total fluke. I sparred Kelvin Smart, who was the British flyweight champion, who Mickey managed. I accidentally, and it was an accident, I think I shattered his cheekbone or broke his nose or something like that with a little spar. It was only supposed to be, he was winding down for a fight. I think he was supposed to fight, I think he was fighting a guy called Dave George for the British flyweight title. And he was winding down, and he was down at Thomas the Beckett gym. And they said, "Kelvin Smart, sparring partner, is ill," or something like this, and we just need someone to move around him a little bit. And I went, "I'm 19. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it." Do you know what I mean? And I jumped in, put some gloves on, jumped in, started moving around. He come flying at me, and I literally shut my eyes, threw a shot, and that was it. And then Mickey rang me with his face of about 20 minutes to half an hour, and I thought he was really angry with me. He was like, "Dude, come to my office. Come to my..." And I thought I was in a lot of trouble. And he said, the minute I walked into his office, he said, there's a contract on the table. He said, "Sign it." And I never looked back. That was my career.
Wow, and you become a three-weight world champion. That's a story that we're going to definitely get from you one day, and I look forward to doing that with you. Just one more interesting one for you. Obviously, your background's Jamaican. That's where your parents came from when they
Yeah.
were in the UK. But have you ever looked beyond that? The reason I'm asking you is because I just was lucky enough to go to Nigeria recently for the boxing event last week that Amir Khan promoted, and obviously I was looking into the history of Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and obviously you look into the slave trade and you look into how
Yeah.
it ended up in Jamaica. So no doubt your ancestors, maybe your great grandparents, came from that part of Africa. And I was looking, you're from Clarendon, yeah?
That's right. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not, but people in Clarendon more than likely came from Nigeria, Ghana, or Sierra Leone. Take your
Yeah.
pick.
Neither of them. My dad's a Scotsman.
No way.
Yeah. Swear to God. Yeah.
Wow.
My dad's dad was a Scotsman, kilt and everything, big white beard, big white moustache, white hair, the whole shebang. And who obviously I never met, but that's what my dad tells me. And obviously he's gone now, and so my older brothers could tell you more about him, because they actually met him. Clinton, my older brother, Clint's like my dad now. Do you know what I mean? Clint's 70, just turned 70 September the 15th. My older brother Clint, love him to bits, great guy. And like I say, Clint's like my dad, but Clint could tell you more about my great granddad.
I'd be interested to know where your great granddad came from, then where he's originally from.
Yeah, I'd be quite interested. I might do one of them ancestry things and see where that takes me.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was I think Marcus Brown, who was the main event, I was talking to him, and he said one of his coaches did a DNA test, and he's American, but
Right.
his roots, the DNA test suggested that he's got Portuguese and Nigerian in him.
Really?
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, the Portuguese were the first group of people that started enslaving people from Nigeria. So,
Right.
not what you want, but it's quite fascinating when you
Yeah.
look into it. But let's jump into the boxing because I could talk
Yeah.
about history all day because I find history fascinating. So, big fight week. Dave Allen.
Yep.
I've just shown you a video of his. He's been promoting some underwear, men's underwear. Shout out
Yeah.
to one. What do you make of it? Because that video was probably shot within this training camp. I don't know how long ago, but it was more than likely within this training camp. Looking at his facial appearance. So you will have trained around a lot of fighters that aren't always body beautiful because a lot of people will judge him on, his gut, etc. So maybe
Yeah.
you can explain to us, Duke, from your experience, whether that matters or doesn't matter when you're going up against a 6'7" Russian who wrestles bears.
Yeah, it does matter. Of course, it matters. I have seen one or two pictures actually of Dave Allen recently on social media, and he actually looks like he's in the shape of his life. I think that picture you showed me, or the footage you just showed me earlier on, was probably at the beginning of camp. I bet when he turns up for this fight, I bet he's got a six pack. Because I mean, he's got a new coach now, right?
Yeah.
And
No, he's been with Jamie Moore for a while now.
okay, all right. So yeah. But I think they've got him in really, really good nick, and I think he's probably going to surprise people with the actual physical condition that he's in. Hopefully, that doesn't backfire on him because he's always gone into fights, a little bit chubby, a little bit overweight, been able to absorb shots with that extra weight. But listen, I wish him all the best. Obviously, I hope he pulls this one off. It's not an easy fight. He wouldn't want an easy fight. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight to go and watch. Whether you're there live or on TV, it'll be a good fight because Dave always comes to fight, doesn't he? He gives his all.
It does. I saw an interview. I think Peter Fury might have been. I don't know if you've seen much of Makhmudov. I got to watch him up close and personal when he fought Ajit Kabayel, who's rated very highly, and
Great KO, yeah.
he did hurt Kabayel in the early rounds, but Kabayel managed to grind it out and stop him. And I think he broke his hand in that fight as well. And if you watch a lot of his fights, Makhmudov, he doesn't box. He literally, first 3, 4 rounds, he's looking to take you out. He literally goes all out the first 3, 4 rounds. So I doubt he's going to change. So what I want to ask you is, how much do you rate him as a fighter? Obviously, his two losses have come to Kabayel and Vioni. I can't remember his name, but it's an Italian heavyweight.
Well, listen, Makhmudov has mixed in good company because Caball's no slouch. Caball's a world-class, good fighter. And if he's in shape, as Dave Allen's going to be in shape, then the smart money's got to be on Makhmudov. It just does. Dave's got a history of not turning up for the big ones, and then, he got the Johnny Fisher win. But that kind of, I don't take nothing away from him, because that victory kind of flattered him a little bit, because, Fisher ain't no world beater, but Dave Allen got the victory against all the odds. So that's great for him, because a lot for his morale. He's really up there now. His mind's right. He's, getting himself in really good shape for this fight and be ready for it. Will it be enough? We're going to find out. I doubt it somehow.
Okay, so what kind of fight you expect? How do you think this fight will play out Saturday night?
Well, I haven't really studied that Makhmudov too much as yet. I haven't really sat down and looked at him. I saw little clips of him, just like little clips, to be honest with you. But as you've just sort of alluded to, the fact that he comes out and makes a fast start, it's whether Dave Allen can weather that initial onslaught. It's whether he can drag him out into the later rounds and then see what happens. I mean, if nothing else, Dave Allen's a good stayer, right? And, he knows how to, fiddle and mess his way around in fights and then turn it on late. But again, we're sort of talking levels. Is that Johnny Fisher fight, has that somehow that victory a little bit flattering to his credentials? Again, we're going to find out, because this has to be considered a huge step up from where he was. Do you see what I mean? Makhmudov, good puncher, 6'6". Don't know if he's got great stamina, but at 6'6", he can punch. So it depends on how he turns up. It depends on what he brings to the table. Also, Makhmudov, if he doesn't get Dave Allen out of there early, Allen could quite potentially dig out a late one and beat him on a points decision. I don't think he stops him, but yeah, I could see Dave Allen possibly grinding out a points victory, or he'll get stopped.
if you was to make a pick?
I'd go Makhmudov.
Okay.
Like I say, I like Dave. He's the people's champion. Everybody likes him. I want him to win, but again, we're talking about levels. So I'm not going to reserve judgment, although I haven't really watched Makhmudov. I've had a look at his record, like I say. I've got a rough idea where he's coming from in terms of where he's going and what his ambitions are. The Caballero defeat wouldn't have done him no harm, not at all. Break Caballero highly. So I think smart money's got to be a Makhmudov.
Okay, let's see how that unfolds. There's an intriguing fight on the undercard, the rematch between Junaid Boston and Bilal Fawaz. Did you watch the first fight?
No,
Do you know much about either fighter?
sorry, I don't.
Okay, right, I'll leave that one then. But I'll tell you something interesting about that fight, though. So Junaid Boston, a hot prospect, he was 9-0 at the time when they fought the first time, I think, or maybe 10-0. But the fight was a draw. Some people thought Fawaz edged it. Some people thought the draw was fair. But so they're rematching straight away. And I saw from they did a bit of a face-off, and Boston basically said that, he just wasn't motivated or trained hard enough for that fight. Did you ever experience something like that in your career, in your eighth or ninth fight, where you kind of lose motivation and then something like that happens and it triggers you?
I think what's happened to him can happen to anybody. You can string up a few good victories. It goes to your head a little bit, take your foot off the pedal, and then you put it in a real fight and you get a wake-up call. So did it happen to me? It's happened to me once or twice, I think, early in my career. Yeah, it's happened. Definitely. I think I went about sort of 5 or 6-0, and then I boxed a guy called David Capo in Los Angeles, if my memory serves me right. And that kid gave me life and death. I thought he won, to be honest with you. Then they raised my hand at the end of the fight, and I was like, okay. Bit of a let's just say, it was a favourable decision because Mickey Duff was in my corner. So, but I've had one or two like that, and then I had another one against a guy called Elaine Limarola at Wembley Arena, but I was giving away weight. I gave away about half a stone. So when you're a flyweight, that's a lot of weight. I think I weighed about 8'3". I think he weighed about 8'10", something like that. And he was a little battle-hardened, little round, 5 foot nothing, tough guy. And I thought he beat me as well, to be honest with you. But he got a decision.
Okay.
Sorry, I got the decision. Sorry.
Okay. The other big story I want to speak to you about is just announced in the last hour, and if you know or not, Ben Whittaker signed with Matchroom.
Yeah.
What do you kind of make of that move? What does it mean for Boxer, and what does it mean for Matchroom signing Ben Whittaker?
Well, Ben's he's a bright star. He's a rising star. I'm a little bit disappointed in him leaving Ben Shalom. He's left Ben Shalom.
Yep.
So if he's left Ben Shalom and Ben's just got to deal with BBC, why would he have done that? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Not really. Other than Eddie Hearn really is Mr. Boxing, isn't he? Worldwide, he's right up there with the Bob Arums and the Don Kings of this world, if Don's still alive. Matchroom are right up there, aren't they?
I think the assumption is, obviously, I don't know if this is fact, but the assumption is that obviously it was a decision fighting on BBC in front of obviously a ridiculously amount of in front of a large audience, or fighting on the zone, a lesser audience, but getting paid a lot more. So I suppose if the shoe was on your, if it was your decision, would you want to fight in front of more people or earn a lot more money? If
No,
again, I don't know if that's factual, but that's what the assumption is.
Yeah, if that assumption is to be believed, then you always go where the money is. And Ben's quite a cute cookie, and will realise, you don't play boxing; it's not a game. His next fight could be his last fight, so he'll just want to be getting well paid for whatever fight he's got in him, and whoever he fights, he'll want to get well paid. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. I obviously feel sorry for Ben Shalom because he's invested in him in the early part of his career, and now he's gone, well, thanks, mate, I'm going off. But I suppose you have to put yourself first. You've got to put your, Mickey Duff says it best: if you want loyalty, get a dog.
Yeah, see, I always see these examples when fighters leave promoters who have built them from scratch. But I always give the other scenario. If Ben Whittaker lost, say, at the 7 or 8 fights he's had with Boxer, what if he lost 3 of them? There's a very good chance they wouldn't have kept him anyway. So it kind of,
Mm.
they would have said, see you later, we can't invest in you anymore. So, but because he's won, the shoes on his, I mean, the feet, I can't say
Shoes on the other foot. Yeah.
that's the saying I was looking for.
Yeah.
So he makes the decision. So is it fair that in that scenario, because he's won and he's looked good, etc., he makes that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I say, I don't blame him. Ultimately, your boxing career is a short one. Whether you have one fight or you have 50 fights, it's a short career. And at the end of your career, you're going to be able to look at your bank balance and say, you know what, it was worth it. So I think you have to respect his wishes.
Indeed,
Happy fighter's a good fighter, right?
indeed, definitely. So I think Boxer they've kept Adam Azim as far as we know, and obviously Fraser Clark, which is the first fight they've got on the 25th of October. But Adam Azim, I believe, is staying on. He signed a deal with them. But yeah, so that's it really. So Ben Whittaker, hopefully, Eddie Hearn described him as, let me just find the quote. I think he's something along the lines of the world's best potential signing you could make right now. Would you agree with that? Potentially the world's best free agent.
No, I mean, listen, Eddie Hearn's a promoter and he's promoting his new brand, so his new product. So, good luck to him. We're going to find out, aren't we? But, they're going to match him right. They're going to get him the right exposure, certainly, and get him up in the rankings, certainly. And hopefully he gets a world title fight or get some sort of a meaningful fight that will lead to a world title fight.
Indeed. So yeah, that's it really, Mr. McKenzie. Pleasure as always speaking to you, and hopefully we'll see you soon somewhere.
Thanks, chat. The pleasure was all mine. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you again.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening. I'll wrap up.
Thanks, Sam.
Dreams do come true. Reality sets in. We here.
Respect isn't given, it's earned.